Okay, it is 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started here this evening. This is our live Q&A that we do every Thursday evening. This is week 85, and our discussion tonight will be about our USDA Hardiness Zone. So spring boot camp is coming up. I just want to make everybody aware, April 25, 26, and 27, you can come to my place in Clover Valley, Nevada, and you can come to our gardens and greenhouse and you can learn everything that I can teach you in 3 days. So the purpose of this is to help families to grow as much food as they possibly can. Whatever your food growing goals are, we try to help you reach those goals. And we're very focused on the soil health and growing food that is nutrient dense for sure. So put spring boot camp on your list. I only take 15 to 20 people for this class, and I've already got people signing up. So get signed up quick. If you need details to learn more, you can certainly ask in these Thursday night free classes about that, or you can go to my website, which is on the bottom of this page here, www.georgicrevolution.com. And our summer class is coming up. We are taking applications right now for the summer class for the Georgic Schoolroom. That starts on May 20th, but you need to get signed up now so that you can be ready to go, because there's some prerequisites that we need to have happen. So these pictures that are on here, these are just pictures of the last 2 years. First year I had 2 students, and then last year I had 4 students, and I've got 5 students signed up already this year, but we do cut this off at 20. So we can only take 20 students for this. But in this class tonight, and in all the classes that I teach, we talk about soil health, regenerative agriculture, permaculture, biodynamics, holistic management, silvopasture, Georgics, ecological agriculture, ecological literacy, and how to be profitable in farming. So those are the things that we are teaching and helping people to learn and understand. Whether you have a backyard garden or thousands of acres, we help you have the best food growing thing in the world, because it's all about principles. It's not about the size of land. So the 5 pillars of the Georgic Schoolroom are these things right here: self-discovery, personal development, homesteading skills, ecological literacy, and then solving a societal need. The reason I put this on here is I've been getting a lot of questions lately about what the Georgic Schoolroom is. And people have never heard the word Georgic, many of them. Geo means earth, and then Aragon means work, and it comes from both Latin and Roman roots. And so for a person to be Georgic, it means that they work the land or they're a farmer. So the word George, or the name George, means farmer. The state of Georgia means farmland. The Georgios would be the people in ancient literature. Okay, so let's get on to our the definitions tonight and what we're going to be talking about as far as the zone. What is our zone? So here, I just got this off the internet, just a screenshot. This came from the Arbor Day Foundation website. And the people talk about zones a lot, and they get a little excited about it. The zone really only tells you one thing. It tells you the low temperature in your area on average, and that just tells you when a perennial plant will die, depending on the plant. So a plant that is super hardy can live at zone 2 or 3. Those are the hardest plants there are. The plants that are not hardy, you're going to be at zone 9 or 10. So tropicals. And then all the plants fall in there somewhere. But there's a lot of things that the zone doesn't tell us, and it's pretty much everything else. So when you are looking at seed catalogs and you're learning about gardening and learning about growing food and farming and all of that stuff, we think, well, maybe I can't grow that because I live in Minnesota. Well, yeah, Minnesota has a lot of zone 4, Montana and North Dakota, these places, lots of zone 4 up there. It just gets extremely cold. But all that's telling you is the low average temperature, that lowest temperature on average. So can you grow corn in those states? Well, sure you can. I mean, one of my favorite varieties is called Painted Mountain Corn. It was developed in Montana, where they have cold winters. But see, you're not growing it in the winter. It's not a perennial. So a lot of times the zone gets really confusing. So just to clear that up, it's really simple. The low temperature is the temperature at which a particular perennial plant will die. Like a peach tree, they're going to die in zone 3 in the wintertime. It's simply too cold. So let's move on. Here's some examples of what we're talking about. I used to live in the Willamette Valley of Oregon. I ran a farm there for a few years. And so we have an example here, and I just kind of wrote some notes out here. So I'm just going to talk about this. So zones do not tell you about your first frost and your last frost date. Those are not included in the zone. Has nothing to do with it. So an 80-day growing season is what I have where I live now. And I'm living in northern Nevada right now. We're pretty close to the Utah border and pretty close to the Idaho border. So I'm up in the corner of Nevada. We're in the mountains. We have lots of snow right now. We have snow-capped mountains. The snow stayed on the mountain peaks just above my house, right in my backyard, all winter. I mean, all summer last year. It never melted. And that's the way it is. That's where I live. So we have about an 80 to 90-day growing season. The last couple of years, it's been more like 90, 95 days. But some years, it's 65, 70 days. So we have a pretty harsh climate to grow vegetables. But this has nothing to do with my zone. See, in the Willamette Valley, where I lived, it was zone 9, which means it gets down to 20 to 25 degrees. And so it was really warm. The winters were very, very warm. And so you'd think, oh man, you can grow all kinds of stuff there. But the reality is, when I was running the farm there, and it was a vegetable farm that I ran, we would grow things there, and we would start on June 1st. And then the growing season was pretty much over on August 30th. But the frost-free days in that same place was April 1st to November 10th. So why couldn't we start growing everything in April? Because all through April and all through May, we had drizzly, rainy weather, and it caused a lot of diseases in the plants if you put them out. And it was cool weather. So yeah, it was frost-free, but it was cool weather. So we can say, oh my goodness, this is so great. 220 days of frost-free days. That is like, that's the Garden of Eden. We can grow all kinds of stuff all year long. Not really true. That's not the reality. So what we want to think about when you're thinking about zone is it's only going to tell you one thing. And the point of these other examples is that there's a lot of other things that you need to get educated about in your own area. And let's just say you're in the Salt Lake Valley of Utah. It's close by. We go shopping there, so it's in my mind. Well, I mean, it's a 3-hour drive, but whatever. That's close to people who live in the middle of nowhere. So we go over there. I have friends who live there, and they have different growing microclimates from Sugar House to Riverton. There's the different microclimates within that valley. And so they need to know what the weather's gonna be in their own microclimate. And you could even have microclimates within like a 1-mile radius sometimes. And so, your neighbor up the street could be able to do things a little bit differently than you. So this is getting really technical. And for some people, this gets overwhelming, but don't let it overwhelm you. It's just a matter of education. And you can grow a lot of food without this detail of education. But our simple instruction tonight is, what is the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, growing zone, and how do you know? So the zone is simply what I already told you. It's the average lowest temperature every winter in your area. And it changes because like 25, 30 years ago, it was different. They've updated it and now it's warmer. So that's interesting. You know, climates are changing around the world, and it's interesting because they've updated the dates because the regions have got somewhat warmer in North America. So anyway, the next little slide here is interesting. So I'm just going to click on this and it should take us to the website. So this is a fun website. So this is just plantmegreen.com. So here's the website. So if we put in a zip code here, so my zip code right now in Nevada is that. So now I'm going to click look up. Bam, it's zone 5, okay? Based off the 2023 hardiness map. And so this is the updated hardiness map. So if you go back and look at a hardiness map from the 1970s, it's going to be different. The temperature is, which doesn't really matter unless you're doing some kind of research. But this is good because this is updated. So all you have to do is put in your zip code. So we can try a different zip code. So I'm going to put in the zip code where I grew up, where as a kid. So this was Hurricane, Utah, and that would be zone 8. So yeah, so different zones. So that's fun. And then you can just scroll down here on this website, and it has another map here. And this is a little bit better map than I was showing you before. It's just clearer, easier to see the picture. So wherever we are, it's color coded, and then you got the key over here to tell you which zone you're in. So that is the end of our instruction for tonight. It's pretty basic. We can open this up for questions. If you have a question, I'm going to stop my screen share here. Laurel, you're on here tonight. Thank you for being here. If you have a question about gardening or farming or ranching or homesteading, if you do, you can certainly ask it. And if not, that's okay too. So you can type in the chat your question, or you can unmute and ask your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Hello, John and Melanie. We're just got to Q&A. If you have any questions tonight. Hello, John. Can you hear me? The joys of technology. John says he can't unmute. Well, if you have a question, can you type it in the chat? The link is the same for the next 6 months. So copy it and you can keep that. You also, the link is on my website. So if you go to the website, you can click on it. And looks like we lost John. Laurel, are you there? Are you able to unmute? You could ask a question.
Yeah, sorry, I'm new. I had a friend give me your link tonight. So fun.
Nice.
Yeah, spring thing. Where do you stay when you sign up for that? I don't know where.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we're in Wells, Nevada. If you know where that is, it's on I-80, Interstate 80, just across the Salt Flats from Salt Lake City, Utah. And so there's you can get like a hotel or a motel in Wells, or you could bring a tent and you can camp out here on the
That's
property.
okay to do that?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you have an RV or a motorhome, you could drive that. I have people bring RVs. If you have a van, you can just sleep in your car. Sometimes we have rooms available. So yeah.
I just didn't know if there was hotels in Wells. I don't know like where you are, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Wells is 16 miles away. So if you did get a hotel, you certainly can do that. And some people like that. Some people like to camp out here on the ranch. Some people bring an RV. Sometimes we do have rooms available. I'm not sure if we will have rooms available on those dates yet. It needs to
Okay.
get closer, and then we can figure that out.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to discuss if we can do that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You bet. Do you have any gardening questions or homesteading questions?
We have a lot, but we don't know what to ask.
That's funny. Tell me about your garden. Are you raising a garden right now?
So we are currently doing trying to do a geothermal greenhouse.
Nice.
Should we show you? We're in it right now.
Oh yeah. Turn on your camera. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Hi.
I can see you. Your camera's working.
It's working. Okay, where's my turn it around thing? How do I turn this around on this?
Just flip it over and point.
Okay. Here we go. I got where I'm looking.
Yeah, it
Okay,
looks
so
like
we
a
have
greenhouse. That's awesome. So it's on
Yeah,
the
so it's our
side of your house, huh?
yeah.
Perfect. So what kind
Yeah,
of
so
crops are you growing?
so we are just starting. What do we have? Some
Early spring stuff.
early
Cheap. That's not early spring stuff.
Oh, we're cheating. The peas. We have some radishes. We have some microgreens and chard. What is on the last one? Skillen. So we're just trying to see if we can keep it all going early winter or early, I don't know, late winter, early spring.
Yeah, nice. That's perfect. Where are you guys located?
In Murray, Utah.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. All right, perfect. Okay,
Yeah, we're
sounds
just
good.
trying to learn all of I've done some learning with what's her name from Soil Food Web School.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I just need to get good at like how to read the biology of my soil and make sure I know how to do that. We've got a lot of clay soil in our backyard. We're
Uh-huh.
trying to make a big backyard garden. But we've been adding a lot of organic matter, but also like how do we know like how to balance the bacteria and the funguses and stuff like that so we can really maximize what we can get out of the garden. That's kind
Yeah.
of one of the things we learned this year.
Yeah, perfect. Good. So which classes did you take from Dr. Ingham?
Well, I've just mainly done some of her webinars.
Okay,
Just mainly some of her webinars.
nice. Yeah, I
Elaine,
graduated from her class.
she did one today, and I was like, oh, they have a $200 class that I thought maybe I should sign up for. But
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
I got certified with with her laboratory training. That's how I run my lab, is with everything that she taught. So
Oh, awesome.
So that's pretty great. Yeah, that was a fun class. She's pretty smart. I think she's the top soil scientist in the world. She's
That's good to
number
hear.
one. Yeah, her and Dr. Johnson. I could give you a list of like 10 names, but it won't mean anything. But yeah, those are all my people. That's pretty fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I've been looking into, and I'm like, I've got to learn it. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to get into it with the full like certification course, but learn that you teach it and that you're somewhat local.
Yeah, for sure. We certainly go through that during boot
I don't know
camp.
if I'm frozen, but
Yeah. You are breaking up a little bit. If you want to turn your camera off, it'll be easier to hear you probably. But yeah, if you come to boot camp, you can actually bring a soil
okay,
sample
that's probably
with
better.
you, and we can look at it under my microscope while you're here. So I do that for everybody who comes. It's a lot of fun. And then we can see what critters are in there. We can look at the fungus and the protozoa, the nematodes, the microarthropods, and whatever else is in there. See if you have any disease-causing organisms. So that's fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I would love to help you out if I can. Go to my website and read all the stuff, and then go ahead and jump on next week with more questions if you have them. So that'll be good. That's why I'm here, is to help people have the best gardens of their life. All right, John, do you guys have a question tonight? See if you can unmute this time. Maybe you still can't unmute. John typed in here, what is your seed starter mix? So to start seeds, here's what I do. If you have the luxury of having a worm farm, and so you just have pure worm castings, that's what I like to use. Sometimes I will use the worm castings and mix it halfway with just pure sand. So 50% sand, 50% worm castings. Sometimes I just use the worm castings straight. Most people don't have that luxury because most people don't have a worm farm, which is it's a real problem in our society. That's what's wrong with the world. It's not that taxes are too high and inflation is high and politicians are crooked. That's not the problem. The problem is we don't have worm farms in our backyards. Okay, that was my attempt at being funny, but guess what? I'm right. So here's a seed starter mix you can make from something you can purchase at a local garden center. If you go to the just like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a Walmart garden center, get a bale of peat moss and a bale, and then just a bag of the cheapest potting soil, and then get a sifter and sift all the chunks out of it, and then that makes a pretty good seed starting mix. And then start the seeds with no fertilizer, and then they'll grow 3 or 4 weeks with no fertilizer that you've added to the soil. But what you'll want to do is fertilize them with a liquid fish hydrolysate. And fish hydrolysate is harder to find. You usually need to go to a farm store, like an Intermountain Farmer. They carry fish hydrolysate. But the garden centers usually don't have it. What they have is fish emulsion. But fish emulsion feeds primarily your bacteria, and the fish hydrolysate will feed the fungus and the bacteria, and you want to be feeding them both. And so how much fertilizer do you give them? Just follow the directions on the bottle, because the different brands will have different rates. So you have got to follow the directions.
William,
Did that answer your question, John and Melanie?
It did. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so worm castings with sand, or half worm castings and half potting soil mix?
No. Either straight worm castings, that's your option number 1.
Okay.
Option number 2 is 50% sand, 50% worm castings.
Okay.
Option number 3, 50% cheap potting soil, 50% peat moss, but you're going to have to sift out the chunks.
Okay. And then at what point do we add the fish hydrolysate?
Okay, you mix that in the water when you water the plants.
Okay, at the point where the leaves are just starting to come out, or?
Yeah, every time you water.
Okay. All right. And so we're watering from the
But
bottom.
you need to follow the directions on the bottle. So
Okay.
I'm saying every time you water, but if the directions say to do it differently, then follow the directions on the bottle. Because I don't know which brand you have. Does that make sense? Because you could buy 10 different kinds of fish hydrolysate, and they could each have their different set of instructions.
Okay. Great.
So we've been looking for you on Facebook.
Yeah.
And couldn't find the address
Oh,
on Facebook. The web.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's on my
No,
website.
Okay, could you tell us what your website is? And Melanie will write it down, and I'll try to open it.
Yeah.
So.
www.georgicrevolution.com.
And that's spelled GIC.
I'm putting it in the chat so you can see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's right there in the chat. I hope.
It's not, is it the Georgic?
Just Georgic Revolution or the Georgic Revolution. They both go to the same place. georgicrevolution.com.
You might put it on your Facebook page where you announce. I think that's part of the problem is people try to get on and then they can't find you. And so they give up.
Okay, well, we've got it. All right.
All right, Melanie.
That's good. Well, just the reason why maybe people aren't showing up. We looked last week. Did you have a class last week?
Yeah.
We were available, but we couldn't find you last week either. So
Sorry, Melanie.
thank you.
We'll do better next time.
Yeah. And we'll let
Maybe I should figure out how to get on Facebook.
No.
or just have Ezekiel post it for you.
Ezekiel has too much to do.
Okay.
On your Facebook page. Have Bernie do it.
So here's
Bernie's doing good.
When is your next boot camp?
Boot camp is coming up right here. Bam, boot camp. Can you see that?
Yeah,
April 25, 26, 27.
And what's the cost again?
I don't know. I think it's $550, but I forgot. You'll have to go to the website and look at it.
Okay, for
Go to the website. You want to go to the website? Check this out. I have a website. Bam!
Yay.
I'll show you my website. Classes right here.
Okay.
Website. I spent the whole winter building it with people who were way smarter than me because I can't build a website. Here's the Georgic schoolroom. Here's the boot camp. Here's my online classes. I'm building them right now. They'll be available in a month or two, but I have to get them done. Feed Your Family Bootcamp cost $550 per person, $850 for a couple. That includes all your meals while you're here and the class. It does not include lodging, but you can bring a motorhome, you can bring a van, you can bring a tent, you can get a motel in town. This is a good class. We just finished the winter one a couple of weeks ago. It was so good. People
by the time you pay $200 or whatever amount of fees you pay for these online webinars, the $550 or $800 is not that much.
I try to keep it affordable. Here's all the things we learn right here. You will learn. And then here's a big list. You can go to the website later and check it out. And you will have fun. Here's the reality. I have had 100% of everybody who's come have said they have had fun. I haven't had one complaint. That's because it's good. I focus on quality, baby. You're going to learn more than you thought you were. Of course, my personality is a little bit crazy and irreverent, and that always makes it fun. Not inappropriate, just irreverent.
You're
Oh,
just fun to be around, William.
dear.
We've
Look
always
at all
liked
these
being
fun
around.
pictures from boot camps we've had. See how
Okay.
this website is?
So they're all standing around. None of them are, oh, maybe there's one person digging while everybody else
Well,
is
it's
standing
supposed to be hands-on, but everybody just watches me do the work. I say, get down
Well-
here, get dirty, let's do this.
I'll bring my shovel.
That's right. Okay, here's one where I made people get dirty. See, there's a picture.
There we go.
People are getting crazy.
Oh,
This was summer boot
Your
camp
seed
last year.
starting. What did you use for your screen? You mentioned screening. Where could we get or make a good screen?
Oh, dear. Here, look at Amazon. Check this out.
Okay.
Soil, SCREEN, soil screen. Let's see what comes up. Hey, see this one right here? I own that one.
Okay, it was real expensive there too, huh?
There's one. That one's fun. $30. They should have screens like this. That one looks pretty good over here. It's $19 one.
Yeah.
Oh, see this
So
green one right here? Let's take a close look at this. I got one of these as a gift. Yeah, this is the one I have. So it has two sizes. See that picture?
okay,
So
yeah.
it has the 1/4-inch screen and then the 1/2 inch. So I own this one. It's
Which one do you use the
$35.
most? Do you use the 1/4 inch or the 1/2 inch the most?
Probably the 1/2.
Okay,
But it's good to have both. But you can buy these at probably any garden center.
okay.
All right, there you go. I wonder what else. Okay, any more questions tonight?
I have another question.
Let's hear it.
It's warming up a little sooner than usual,
Okay.
I think. I don't know if it is there, but would it be too crazy to plant potatoes the first week of March instead of around St. Patrick's Day like we used to do?
Okay, you live in lots of places. Where are you going to plant them this year?
This year it's Utah, which is the same zone. It's 5B where we are. I think it's 5B. We're higher than Santa Quinn. We're
You
up
need to
on
listen to this recording once it's over and I get it on YouTube. Because that was our discussion tonight, was zones.
Oh,
And how there's a lot of other things you need to understand besides the zone. Because the zone's
Sure.
going to tell you one thing. It tells you when... Hold on a second. So sorry, excuse me for that interruption. So zones tell you one thing. Zone tells you the average low temperature in the winter in your area, which translates into what perennial plant will die when it gets that cold. And that's it. That's the only thing it tells you. It doesn't tell you how early to plant. It doesn't tell you how many frost-free days you have. It doesn't tell you 100 other things you need to know about gardening. So, yeah, you can go back and look at the recording. I'm probably yelling and screaming. It's a lot of fun. So, let me think. So, but your question was when to plant potatoes. I would wait and plant later. Plant first of April.
Not the, oh, really? 1st of
Yeah.
April?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Because if you have a cold snap and you know, I mean, you're in northern Utah or northern Missouri, either one. Like, yeah, you know, 1st of April's a good time. You could plant earlier, but I mean, if they start to come up and then you have a cold snap, it freezes them back. You can plant whenever, really. It just depends on what you want to do. It's not going to
I
be
guess
big, but you could get your peas planted early. Just plant them deep. You want to go about 3 inches deep.
really, okay.
And most people, because little seed packets and stuff don't tell you that. But you can plant peas pretty deep and then they'll withstand the cold weather. In Hurricane, Utah, where I grew up, we would plant peas in like right when the super cold weather was coming, which was about Christmas time. Right before the ground froze, we would plant peas and they would stay dormant and then they would be up in February. And my dad's pea patch was always 3 weeks earlier than everybody else's because he'd plant them in the fall, basically.
And you planted those fall peas 3 inches deep then, right?
Yeah, but see, that's a whole
Okay.
different zone. Wait a
Yeah.
minute, just said zone doesn't matter.
Two or three warmer, but that it gives you an idea, you know? I mean, if I'm watching somebody online and they're planting their winter sowing in gallon jugs in January and they're in zone 7, I know that's at least a month later for me, which
Yeah,
is right now. Okay.
right. What you really
I
need
agree.
to be concerned with garden crops is your first and last frost dates. Those are more important than your zone. By the way, do you guys like to eat fava beans? It's time to plant fava beans right now. If you're in northern Utah, Ezekiel's in southern Utah, but you're in a colder climate in Cedar City than people in the Salt Lake Valley. So it's time to plant fava beans right now. You
We're
know
in
what favas
San
are?
No.
They're
They're a fantastic plant, and they're a cold weather crop. Plant
Are they
them right now.
fasule.
He doesn't know what that is. That's in Kosovo. They call it fasule.
That's an Albanian. It's probably the same thing.
What color are the beans? Are they white?
They're maybe, probably not. They come in a lot of different colors, but I just spelled them here. It's fava, F-A-V-A.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Are they flat and like a lima bean shape?
They're
kind of?
bad. To the untrained eye, people think they're limas, but they're not.
Okay.
But they're big.
Okay. They
They're
are.
really big. They're
All
like
right.
they're a big fat bean. But you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the pods when they first come out. Once the pods get big, they get fibrous, so they're not edible at that point. But as soon as a bean is inside of them, you can crack them open and you eat the green immature bean inside like a pea. Or you can wait until the pods dry up and they start turning black, and you can still shell them out at that point. And then each bean on the inside, you pull the outside pod off and you can eat them that way. Or you wait till they completely dry up and you can eat them that way. So there's like 6 ways to eat this plant. And yet people are worried about starving to death in the apocalypse. And then there's all these fantastic foods that nobody's ever heard of that are super easy and fun to eat and highly nutritious. So I worked at a farm in Riverton, Utah for 2 years, and we planted fava beans in the fall there every year. Like it was like early November, late October. Right before the ground froze, we would go out and we would plant fava beans, big giant rows of them, like 5 or 6 rows that were 300 feet long. And they would just winter over. And then early in the year, like when the snow started melting, these beans would come up. And it sounds crazy because we think of a bean as a warm weather crop. Well, this is a bean that is a cold weather crop, and they're fun to eat.
How long do they grow for?
As soon
through
as
the
hot
fall?
weather hits, they're done. So,
Okay. Oh, perfect.
I mean, by May, you're
Good.
getting done. You harvest the 1st of May and it's over. So it's an early spring food, which is fantastic because traditionally, springtime was the starvation season.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't have a starvation season now. We just eat Twinkies and Ding Dongs and Pepsi and Snickers bars.
So are they like a pole bean or are they more like a bush bean?
You do not need a trellis. They'll grow 3 feet tall, but they're on a sturdy stalk. They'll hold themselves up.
Perfect.
And plant one seed about every 4 to 6 inches apart.
And do you get your seeds? Where do you get your fava seeds?
So go to survivalgardenseeds.com
Okay.
and see if they have them. If they don't, then just do an internet search for them. Or you could come see me. You could get some from me. I got lots of seeds I've been raising. But I don't ship anything in the mail because I have to go to town.
Okay. Your Utah Seed Company doesn't have them, do they? Where did you
Utah Seed probably does, yeah, if you want a 50-pound bag. But they deal in 50-pound bags.
Where did you get yours before? What True? Is it called True something?
Yeah, there's a place called True Leaf Market.
Yeah, True Leaf
Here,
Market.
let's go to Survival Garden Seeds and see if they have them.
Okay.
There I am. See, that's me on their website. Whee! Look at that. It's true. They say I'm an expert. Look at this.
You are.
Here's my link right here. You couldn't find it. You go to survivalgardenseeds.com and the link for this class is there. So let's go to, where's a search? Search right there. F-A-V-A, fava. It didn't work. Let's try this again. I don't know if I'm smart enough to do this.
You're doing okay.
Well, it's not working.
No, it's not.
Huh.
Their site's not working.
Let's go to vegetables.
Oh, beans. Oh, I don't see them there.
Let's go to, they're going to have a ton on here. Vegetable, featured. Let's just try searching it again. Hey, our search thing came up this time. F-A-V-A. Now it's working. Fava. Okay, they don't sell fava beans apparently.
Oh, all right.
So you're gonna have to find them somewhere else.
Okay.
You can go to True Leaf Market. I know they have them. Maybe, I wonder if they have them in grains and cover crops. Most people don't think they're edible, which is a problem with the world. Well, but I searched their entire website, so it's still not going to be on here. Anyway, we tried. I'll have to talk to Jason. He's my friend. He owns this company. Say, hey, you got to get fava beans on there. I'm promoting fava beans, and you don't even have them for sale. So yeah, I guess you'll have to go to True Leaf or somewhere else.
Okay.
All right. Well, I wonder if Rare Seeds has them.
Oh yeah, Baker Creek.
Yeah.
You do, but they're gonna, yeah.
It's free shipping.
They'll probably have fun varieties too.
Oh, they do. They have hundreds of varieties.
Yeah.
Your list really long. Oh, wait a minute. Fava beans, Broad Windsor vegetable seeds. Is that what they are? Broad Windsor?
Yeah, that would be the variety name.
True Leaf has them.
Yep, they've got them.
There's also Aqua Dulce fava bean and fava bean organic cover crop seeds. Oh my, and microgreen seeds. Okay, there's 9 different products under fava beans.
Yeah, see how awesome they are? They're a good plant. So the cheapest way to get them is going to be in the cover crop package.
Okay, organic cover crop.
And they're probably the same. And by the way, the
$9.80 a pound. That's enough.
Yeah, if they have some that are not organic, they might be a couple of dollars cheaper. And I can almost guarantee you that the way they grow organic nowadays, the toxicities are going to be the same thing. That's why I fought against the organic stuff so hard back in the 90s when they were trying to change the labeling on organic, because it didn't make it better. It just confused the public thoroughly, and farmers got more money for still high toxic food. I should teach a class on that, but not this year. I shouldn't be the bearer of bad news. That's a bad thing. I
So,
was trying to tell you good news, but it sure sounded negative.
so how far are you from the community college or the college that's in Elk?
We're 40 miles from Elko.
Elk.
I gave a
Oh.
speech there last year on composting. They had me come and teach about composting. It was fun. The first guy got up and talked about composting, and then everything he said I disagreed with. And
Oh,
then it was
no.
my turn to get up. How do you follow that when every point that the first guy makes is totally wrong? An old science. His speech was all about the outdated science that they're still teaching, and he hadn't learned anything from Dr. Johnson or Christine Jones or Elaine Ingham or none of the great scientists of the day who were making these fantastic discoveries. None of them were like, I don't know, they just hadn't, they weren't up to date on the science. It was kind of sad, actually. Of course, I'm an anti-confrontation person. I have a pretty white personality. I don't want to tell people the wrong. So I just got up and gave my speech. I didn't tell them they were wrong. I just gave my speech. And it's good that I don't, generally in my speeches, I just give information. I don't talk about how things are wrong. Maybe I should apologize for what I just said about organic, but I don't know.
I've heard the same thing about organic, so.
It's kind of sad because we go to the store and the store has organic everywhere. And that's what they're marketing nowadays. But it's not what organic meant 25, 30 years ago when it meant something different. Now it means, it's just a marketing label. It's sad. Because it used to mean something wonderful. Because I used to be an organic farmer. And it meant that I didn't spray any of my crops with toxins. I didn't use fertilizers that killed the microbes. I focused on soil health. And my product, when you sent it to a lab, like my tomato or my rutabaga or my potato or my lettuce, when you send it to a lab and you get results back, it has the highest nutrition of any food out there. That's what organic used to mean. And that's what people think it means today when they buy organic. And it doesn't mean that. So the modern labeling of organic lowered the standards. And so they just jumped from one box of toxicity to a different box of toxicities.
So I really don't need to spend all that money on organic then.
You know, that's the problem. If organic, yeah, here I am being I'm being a wicked person tonight. Here's the thing about organic. It's still, if you are eating from the grocery store, which is 99% of people, okay? If you eat from the grocery store, then organic is your best choice. It still is. Okay? So yeah, I mean, you're paying more money for it to buy organic. It is the better choice. But from what organic could have been, it lowered the choice. So what do people do nowadays to get the highest quality food? Well, you need to know a farmer and you have a relationship with them and you trust them, and then they are able to grow food in a way that you believe and understand in. But that's less than 1% of people. I don't know what the percentage is, but I guarantee if we just line up 100 people, it's less than all of those 100 people that are standing there who have a relationship with a farmer. I mean, I just think if we went up to like Idaho Falls or Twin Falls, or if we go over to Reno or we go to Salt Lake or we go to Las Vegas, go to any city, collect 1,000 people on the street and interview them thoroughly, there's probably one person in each 1,000 people in the city who buy their food, like the majority of their food, from somewhere other than the grocery store. But maybe not. Maybe it's more than 1,000. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird world we live in, but yeah. People eat from the grocery store and we eat at restaurants. We eat at restaurants as a convenience or as a social event, but the only place that has the highest quality food are your 4 and 5-star restaurants because they source the highest quality food there is, which is interesting because your 5-star restaurants, they source food that's higher quality than the grocery stores can even get. Grocery stores can't purchase food that's that high of quality because it's not available to grocery stores because there are big farms in California and they only grow 4 or 5-star restaurants. So yeah, the food industry is just so interesting.
Yes.
William, I'm on this True Leaf website. There are fava beans that are broad Windsor vegetable seeds. And then there's the cover crop fava bean. You say we should not get the vegetable seeds, but get the cover crop ones.
Does it have the name of the variety on the cover crop one?
Let me see. Gotta go back here.
Why don't you buy a bag of each and plant them side by side and do a test? Then you can be a scientist like me and you can see which one tasted better.
Well, then next year they'll have intermingled and we'll have a hybrid. So
That's right. And that's what you want. Everybody's taking on hybrids. Hybrids are the greatest thing ever because they adapt faster if you hybridize them to your local area. And then there'll be disease resistance. They'll have pest resistance. In 5 years, they're going to stabilize. Some things take 8 years, but in 5 years, most things stabilize. And did you know that you can change the genetics of a plant faster to grow in your soil than you can change your soil to be a beautiful, rich, fertile soil?
So it's going to take me 5 years to get my soil where it needs to be. And you say that in 2 years I could have a plant that would
Well,
grow.
probably in 3 or 4 years. But
We did really well last year. Our garden did really well. We just weren't here to harvest it, unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice. And our neighbors didn't even come and take the stuff, which we asked them to do, because it just froze before we got back.
That's because people don't eat from their gardens.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Gardening's not popular. That's why I average 3 or 4 people on these every Thursday night. I was thinking about this the other day. So I'm a terrible marketer and I don't market these. Like you said, you couldn't find my link tonight, blah, blah, blah. So I need to work on marketing. But just think about it. There are hundreds of people that know that I do this. But I was just thinking, if I knew that I was going to be on here and I could ask me any question in the world on Thursday nights, I'd be on every Thursday night.
Yeah, and annoying like the
And
Christmas are.
I'm not putting anybody down. It's just an interesting thing. You know.
Well, this is fun. Okay, so this broad Windsor fava bean cover crop is a heritage seed.
Yeah.
They have. It's, of course, it's non-GMO, but it's a heritage seed. That's really cool.
It's probably the same variety. They just have to say that the other one is, because if people think it, I don't know, it's just marketing. I bet you it's the same thing. I bet you they get one shipment of seed in from whoever's raising it, and then they're packaging it in different packages. That's what seed people do.
And I have no idea how much 4 ounces would be. How many seeds?
The beans are pretty big, but it should tell you right there on the website how many seeds per ounce. Just scroll down.
Okay.
Go to the vegetable one. It'll give you more information than the the cover crop information.
Okay.
Here's what I was thinking. If we could sell like 100,000 copies of my book, that'd be enough money to buy a big ranch. And we could turn it into a place to grow the best food in the world. And we could stop all of the diseases of malnutrition for everybody who eats the food. because our food would be packed with so many nutrients that we would only eat half as much and we would be twice as healthy.
So is there any property for sale next to you?
Yeah, there is a ranch for sale here.
Well, we're gonna have to sell 100,000 of your 100. How many did you say?
No, I was
100,000?
just I didn't do the math. I was just spouting off and said 100,000 or 150,000. I think the profit on my book is around $7. The way it's priced on Amazon.
Yeah, well,
So that'd be $1 million. We could buy a ranch. It'd be cool, huh?
it would be.
Except we'd be far away from it if we stayed here.
Well, we'd have to move out there and build a house.
Okay, so think about it. It's only 3 hours away. That's local.
Yeah.
Well, it's closer than Boise. But you don't have a long growing season, and we'd have to have what? A wallopini.
Yeah, well,
And we can't build a wallopini. Only William knows how to do that.
well, but
Oh, there's other. I'm not the only talented person in the world.
It costs so much to have somebody come in and move stone.
I did
Yeah,
the
well,
math. If we would have bought that stone
Oh, can't imagine.
and if we would have hired all the labor done, I figured it on an average price. I didn't go high and I didn't go low. I did average prices. That thing would have cost close to $750,000.
well,
And I did it for 45,000.
Oh, wow. That was a lot too.
What did you think it was, Melanie? What was in your mind?
Well, I thought you were getting the stone from your property.
We did.
You had-
It was all free. We didn't have to buy it.
Really? Well, then
Yeah.
what's so
Well,
much?
just the glazing on the roof was 25,000
Oh, wow.
because it lasts for forever. It's the best roofing there is. They started
That's-
manufacturing it 27 years ago, and the greenhouses that they built with it 27 years ago are as good as the day they put them up. They look like they're brand new. They haven't changed at all. But when you go with all of the Lexans, the polycarbonates, all those different kinds of things, after like 5 or 6, 8 years, you can start to see weathering and problems. So this is a brand new technology that they've invented, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares. And it's okay. Nobody needs to care. It's just fun stuff, you know.
and so your wallopini has one rock side or two rock sides?
Well, the long side, 130 feet of it is 10-foot tall rock wall, and then the end wall is that's 30 feet wide. That's stone. But the other, well, the door side's stone too, but I mortared it together like a fireplace. So 3 sides are stone. But the
Okay.
south side, I wanted maximum light coming in from the winter sun, and so it's yeah, it's just all plastic.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was rock, part rock. Okay. Well, we'll see when we come. So part rock. We could easily have done one with our stone walls that we have here on our terracing. But they're not. The rocks don't have cement in between them. They're not.
You didn't put cement between your rocks?
Yeah, he did.
Did you cement your rock?
William, did you cement your rocks?
No, just the one wall where the door is. So that was
okay.
cemented, but the rest of it is not. The majority of it is not. It's just the one small wall where the door is. Okay,
Now I
Zeke,
have
question. Something's wrong with Zoom tonight because people can't unmute.
Yeah.
Zeke says he can't unmute. Anyway, I can't unmute, but I have a question. I'm growing apple trees. They're 6 inches tall. How warm does it need to be to take them out? So to go outside.
Wow. Good
You
for him.
you probably so I know you started these inside. You probably I hate to say this, but maybe you shouldn't have started them inside. You probably should have started them so that they would have sprouted outside. So you're going to need to wait till the frost is over, because if they have a spring frost, they're going to think that winter's here. So wait till the weather's completely settled, and you need to have a fan blowing on them in the house vigorously for a couple of hours every day. Or when you take them outside, the first little breeze that hits them, it's going to just thrash them because they won't know what wind is. So every time you walk by them, run your hand over them and not kind of hit them. You got to make them tough, and then have a fan on high right on those plants that blows for 2 or 3 hours a day, because they need that movement to make strong stems and to be tough. So you're going to have to harden them off like that. So if you have a newspaper or a baseball bat, hit those trees every time you walk by it every day to keep them tough and strong so that they think they're outside. And then once you put them outside, they'll survive and they'll be okay. So that's the thing about, yeah.
William, when do you dormant spray your trees, your apple and peach
Yeah, so
trees?
any time in the
Now?
in the spring, yeah. So right now would probably be a good time to get started.
Do
Really, any time before they leaf out. So I mean, all the way up in sometime in like April when they leaf out, depending on your climate.
All right. And now I have another question about these fava beans because I'm fascinated. Can you we were supposed to mix everything, mix it all up rather than rows of fava beans. So that's what we should do with them, right? Put them where we put potatoes last year and put them in different places all over the garden.
Yeah, it depends what you're trying to do.
You want to add nitrogen back to the soil.
So are these your primary plant for eating, or is this a secondary plant so that secondary metabolites get turned on, or is this a soil conditioner?
I say all of the above.
Okay, well, you have to pick one because if you just say all of the above and then you just mix everything up and you grow a jungle, you may not get very much food.
Okay, so make a row of fava beans then.
If you want to eat fava beans, you need to keep your fava beans spread out with more space so that they have plenty of room to flower and mature and grow beans.
All right, so more than 6 inches across between.
Yeah, they're gonna get big. So if your beans are your main food source, I would plant them like each bean about 6 inches apart, but 3 feet apart. So your rows would be 3 feet apart, but 6 inches in the row.
Okay, and then you can plant
get kind of bushy and big.
All right, but you can still plant other things like radishes or something, carrots or whatever among them.
Yeah, you can grow short things, lettuce, spinach, radishes, carrots, things that are short.
Okay.
But anything that you plant under them are going to be shaded, and so you're not going to get a primary food crop out of those things.
So spinach might be good because then they will go longer when it gets warmer, because spinach is a short season crop.
Yes, but so are the fava beans. So once it gets warmer, the fava beans are going to be stopping also. But yeah, they will have to shade.
And then do we just let them go? Do we cut them off and put them in compost and leave the roots in the ground? What do we do to condition the soil?
You mean to prepare the soil to plant?
No, to condition this, not condition the soil. What do we do to keep those nutrients in the soil that the fava beans have produced for us, like nitrogen?
Once they're done? Well, you can turn in a herd of cattle on there to eat them.
Yeah, in our HOA.
But that's out of context for your garden. but that is
Yeah.
the best thing to do ecologically. So what would the next best thing to do that would mimic a herd of grazers?
I'll walk on it.
You could go out there and jump up and down on them and
Yeah, have a-
smash them into the ground so that they're flat on the ground and these plants become part of the detritosphere. That's the
Perfect.
next best thing.
Okay.
The third best thing is to cut them off with a pair of pruners so the roots stay in the ground, and then take the tops and put them in your compost. But remember, that's the third best option.
So what if you don't touch them at all? Is that the fourth best option?
No, because you need the space to grow a summer crop. So let's say you plant something that's going to go through the summer. Let's say you plant a bunch of carrots in between the rows of fava beans. So you're going to plant your fava beans now. Your fava beans are going to be done in, say, the second week of May. So the third week of April, plant your carrots out there. The carrots will be coming up when you cut your fava beans off, which will be your first best option within context of growing carrots, because you need to remove the shade. And so you take them to the compost pile, but the only reason that was the best option in this context is because you don't want them to shade the carrots. So now the carrots are up and growing throughout the summer. If you just leave them in place, then they're just going to dry up and be a dead plant that's 3 feet high, and it'll look ugly all summer long. And then you're not growing something that you could be growing there.
What about planting squash and letting it climb up the fava bean?
That would be okay, but the fava bean's not strong enough to hold the squash plant. So what it will do is it will just grow over it like a jungle and eventually smash it down.
Okay. Too bad.
But it's certainly a good idea.
What about cucumbers? Would cucumbers grow up the squash? I mean, grow up the fava bean?
No,
Like-
the fava bean doesn't have a strong enough stalk.
Not at all.
Not a
Okay.
woody enough stalk. It's strong enough to hold itself up, but it's not like a corn stalk that could support something else.
All right. Well,
So
I'm excited. We're gonna
Yeah,
do
so
it.
we still have corn stalk that's still up. So
Yeah. What do we do with that?
I think we'll just plant around it and let our other plants grow up it.
You have one corn stalk that survived.
No, we have a whole bunch. We have a whole row that is brown. You know, it's like the corn looked like in Missouri, the GMO corn.
So
It's
you have a
still-
bunch of corn stalks grow.
Yeah,
that are
we
still
do.
there.
Yeah, we do.
That's fun.
Leave them and plant whatever around them.
Yeah, let
I
them grow up.
would not count on them being strong enough to hold a crop next year.
All
I would
right.
just go turn your cattle in and let them smash them to the ground. So
All
they,
right.
yeah.
We could get goats
we
smelling
could
in,
see.
and the HOA would never know.
The HOA would no. We could just see how strong they are
Yeah.
to see if they don't snap over, then leave them there. It froze and then it snowed before we could do anything in our garden this year. Everything happened really fast. So anyway,
And now we have no snow.
yeah, now we have mud.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get those fava beans and you just poke them in the ground. Just
I'm
poke
excited.
mud them in.
Okay,
How deep?
3 and how deep?
That's peas are 3
About
inches
an
deep.
inch and a half,
Okay,
1 inch.
we're gonna order them tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're gonna order them tonight.
Order them right now.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
no
going to.
reason not to.
Well, thank you.
I'm excited. Thank you.
You're
Any other ideas for a fun crop to plant to add nutrients to our second year
Well,
garden?
we'll get that next week.
Oh, we need to-
Just more of the same. Just mix it all up. Just grow what you like to eat and mix it up.
Okay.
That's the answer right there.
Well, you gave us a great idea tonight. Now, John also has buckwheat.
Oh,
that
yeah,
didn't
that's
get-
a warm weather crop. So you're gonna plant that the 1st of May, even the 1st of
Oh.
June.
Okay,
Yeah, it
As a
grows in
cover
warm
crop?
weather.
as a cover crop?
Yes.
All righty. And then when do we mow it under or turn it under or whatever we do with it?
Well, so when it has full flowers, it'll have white flowers all over the top of it. So whenever that
Pretty.
happens, and that's about 8 weeks after you plant it, probably,
Okay,
depending on the environmental conditions and the variety. But it takes a couple of months.
all right. So we'll plan on doing that then too, John.
Okay,
I'm excited. This
Okay.
is great.
thank
Fantastic.
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good night.
What's your topic next week? Do you know?
No, but I can look at my calendar and tell you. Let me do that. My
We're gonna go-
calendar says, next week is the discussion on the winter room. It's a book discussion. So go to my website and look at, you can look at a calendar there. So for the next many weeks, we're having our book discussions on books that are good books about the Georgic tradition. So The Winter Room by Gary Paulson. So read that book this week, and then that's our discussion next week. That's my topic.
All right.
Okay.
We'll have some good questions.
Sounds fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night.
night.